my name's Alex Morris, and I have the honor of being asked to be the celebrant for Lorenzo's service today. Lorenzo D. Simpson passed away on Sunday, October 9, 2022, at the age of 58. I think it's safe to say that he was truly one of a kind. But I don't need to tell all of you this, because you all have known him. So everyone here today is here because you loved Lorenzo, and Lorenzo loved you. I know everyone here has so many memories that I'm sure they could share for days about just experiences and things that have happened with Lorenzo that just make you laugh and just always stick with you. So as a celebrant, I like to gather information. So Maria, whenever she met with us, was telling me about Lorenzo and how she met him. I learned that she met Lorenzo at Allegheny School in the 80s and that she's been a caregiver to him in some proximity ever since. To give you an idea how long this is, that's longer than I've been alive. She's been caregiving. So that's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, so as he went from Allegheny to Fox Sub Q, she continued to stay with him, even assumed guardianship. So I would say she was a pretty active part in his life throughout all of his events. When I asked Maria how she would describe Lorenzo, she instantly said mischievous. That was emphasized. That was like the word. She said you just never knew what you were going to get into with him or what he was going to get into, so everyone was always on their toes. And I heard he had a habit of liking to pull fire alarms. And then occasionally this happened not just at the facilities, but out whenever he was taken out in public. I'm sure that made for a lot of fun. So aside from getting into mischief, Lorenzo loved to be outside, and no matter what the weather was, he insisted that he was going to go out. He loved being surrounded by nature, I was told, and I bet he found this very peaceful, and that was kind of his happy place. Maria said it didn't matter whether it was freezing cold or raining, he would grab your hand, and you were following him after you fought to put his jacket on if it was cold. She's like, there was always that. But what he loved above all, she said, was cars. And it didn't matter whether it was an actual car, a magazine, a model, but he just lit up whenever he would talk, or anyone would talk about him or he'd see them. So Maria selected this reading that I think really suits Lorenzo. So I just want to, it's the same one in the prayer cards, but it's just such a nice just remembrance. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun of happy memories that I leave when life is done. At this time, Maria wanted to give anybody who wanted to say a few words or share a story with Lorenzo to come up here to the podium. Don't feel pressured to. I mean, everyone knows one another, so if anyone has a memory they'd like to share, feel free to do so now.
Can you all hear me? Do I have to?
Now you can.
One of the things I really remember about Lorenzo, we weren't allowed to bring sodas into the classroom. Especially clear sodas, because you could end up drinking something warm and yellow and not a mellow yellow either. So he was very mischievous. He guarded his drinks.
Well, I just remember his love for food. We always had items to look at. I remember and finding a picture of a Big Mac and just looking at it.
I'm glad you said that. That reminded me. One time we had a pool party at my house and we had the big round table out back and a couple of the group hosts were there. And my daughter said, after it was over, she said, "Mom, I love Lorenzo." And I said, "What happened?" And she said, "We were playing Uno and I was his partner helping him play." And she said, every time he'd pick a card, we'd say, "Play this one." And she'd say he'd take the card out, lick it.
I'm going to want to pick that one.
Another story, it doesn't even have a punchline or anything, it's just a sweet memory that I always remember about Lorenzo. He used to go out in the mornings and have to take his blood pressure years ago when I very first started working there. And we'd sit him up on the side of the bed, or I'd sit him up on the side of the bed, and I'd put the cup on his arm, and I'd take his blood pressure. And one day, he just took the stethoscope off of me, and took the blood pressure cuff off of him, and put it on, and he reached over and he put it on me, and he put the stethoscope in his ears, and he started to listen. So I said, okay, and so I he took my blood pressure.
He loved to know anything that he was able to do, he wanted to do.
And she was inspected it all.
Yeah.
He needed to make sure it was okay.
I remember we could not get him out the door for burger on time ever, because he would just brush his teeth with lead, and you could not hurry him up, and he was done when he was done. So,
He did have a great smile.
with dental hygiene, I remember Halloween's, when we used to dress up in costume, I remember the one year in particular, he was a pimp. And, one of the individuals, other individuals was John, and then there were two that were dressed up as hookers. And he came in just looking
He played the
like,
part.
yeah, ear to ear grin. And I remember, this one's a more poignant story, but this was one that really stuck with me. When his housemate passed away a few years ago, the housemate's mom, we went to the service, and the housemate's mom was saying, I wonder if anybody misses, I wonder if the guys miss him, I wonder if the guys know he's gone. And he was listening to the whole thing, whenever they had a collage of pictures. And he pointed to one, and it was his housemate's birthday, it was his 43rd birthday or something. And he was womping and pointing at the picture, he wanted the picture for his book, because we all know how much he loved pictures too.
Yes.
Because I remember many times when the houses would get together, and those houses would be minus a few pictures when he left. And anyway, he was pointing at this picture, and I said, I'm sorry, buddy, you can't take that off, that, his mom made the board, that's her picture, and she came up behind him, and she said, Lorenzo, do you want that photo? You can have that photo, I have another one. He took it off, he wouldn't let me touch it, held it against his chest, and I said, well, let me keep it for you until we get home, wouldn't let me touch it, so put the cape on, he still hold the picture to his chest the whole way home. He gets home, and we had to plant the tree yet, so this guy's mom's coming back, we still have to continue with the rest of the service. But in the meantime, he's carefully opening up his communication book, he picks the perfect spot, he sticks the picture, he closes the book. He waits until she comes in, she came in, and he's womping for her, trying to get her attention. She finally, I said, Betsy, I think he really wants to talk to you, and she came over, and he opens the book, points to the picture, and wants on the picture while he's looking at her. She burst into tears. I was like, I think he's telling you he misses him. But I mean, he just was so smart, such a smart, thoughtful, as mischievous as he was also very loving, kind, and wanted to be independent, really, like he said, always wanted to help others, do things for himself. Do it his own way, he definitely did things the other way, but his own mark on it, but that's what I remember.
Well, speaking of pictures, I just kept pictures of my kids as they grew up, and he used to love coming into the office and looking through them, and there was always one that he tried to steal. And finally, I just said to my husband, I was like, look, Lorenzo really wants it. And the last I knew, that picture was still in his communication book.
He loved his photos.
Yes.
He loved, I don't know if you guys from Harrison, he loved them.
Mhm.
And when he passed away, he was over for dinner one night, the house was over, and there were minus a couple pictures of Harrison when he left. And they were in his communication book, I saw them later. So he really had a special bond with him.
He had a gentle soul too.
Yeah.
Because my sweetest memory is when I introduced him to my daughter, and she was just a couple weeks old.
because they said, they called the campus, and they said somebody had escaped, and he was going up that was an old story, that one, and I heard one time, lock the van doors, and trying to get out first, or something, cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yes, the cigarettes.
Trying to get everyone else cigarettes.
Yeah.
But I never knew that.
Oh, yeah, I
Or
know.
he-
Yeah, one time, it was many years, like it was before I even started, like it was, but I remember somebody calling and saying, are you missing somebody? There's somebody with themselves out.
I don't know who it was. Somebody said one time, I don't know if they were taking him somewhere in their car, and he got in there, and then he locked
Yeah.
the
Oh,
door of
yes.
the car, and then,
Abby Gibson, it was like, I believe, told me that
and they
story.
had cigarettes, just like this
Yep.
cigarette, and was just hanging out.
Yep.
And
Yes, yes, I remember that story. Yes.
Because again, that mischievous side, pretty strong.
Yeah.
He could back.
If he really wanted to do that.
I remember his one house at one time trying desperately to tell the staff, this was many years ago, too, he peed in a juice container, put it back in the fridge. The house gets going,
I don't want that juice.
oh, yes, I was,
Yes.
yeah. I was there, we were at Devonshire, I think, and we were there for like a picnic or something, and all of a sudden she screamed and jumped up and went running with her. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. I was, this morning, years ago, he had a goal, this is, many years ago, he had a goal to tolerate exercises and stretches, and if you knew Lorenzo, you didn't really appreciate that, because he was a little tight, and was a little uncomfortable. And I just finished, and I was standing up, I turned around, I was talking to somebody, the next thing I looked down, my feet are wet. He told me what he saw to me.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's so funny, because he would do things so slow and methodical.
Yes.
So when he wanted to do something like
Oh,
that, you know,
yeah.
how it happened.
It was like, yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah, that man could brush his teeth like, it would be like, come on, program's in 20 minutes. Still on 1/4 of his mouth.
I was telling Pat a while ago, I'm just imagining Jack Fort was a nurse that
Oh.
loved
Yes.
Lorenzo, and that reunion is wild and amazing. But, Jack said one time, you know, you give Lorenzo his pills in the little 30-milliliter cup, and he would take them, and then he'd take a drink. And then Jack said he took his milk, or whatever he was drinking for dinner, and he poured right to the top, where you put one more drop in, and then do a shot. And he said, that's how he said he did it, or Jack always said he's doing his shots.
I remember he loved his bubble baths too. He never get him out of the tub. He loved, he said he loved bubbles. Loved trying to shave off his eyebrows too.
Yes.
He loved to shave it all off, including the eyebrows. You had to be very careful.
We tried not to laugh when we saw him after that, but it was pretty funny.
He's got creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loved his puzzles too. I remember he used to love puzzles as well. Oh. Yeah. He's definitely a larger than life personality who will never be forgotten.
Oh, no. I remember working at his house one weekend, and the girl I was with, when I worked at his house, I had to take care of him. The other people weren't allowed to do anything. And he had too much food on his spoon, and she said something to him, and he just looked at her, and his expression was, then he kept looking at me, his expression to me was, are you gonna let her talk to me?
I bet her shoes were wet when she.
No, because she was not allowed to do anything with them. He would like walk at her and go away from her.
Does anyone else have any memories or stories they want to share? That's so cool that you have all those universal but unique.
Bet you never heard those before.
No, actually, I don't think you need to mention the yearning again. Literally, that's what she said. She's like, so you had to watch her drink. I'm like, is he drinking? She's like, no.
He got banned from more than a few places.
Yes.
She said about Hershey Bears games, sometimes you have to watch quick. Yeah.
He's somebody's had it, I Hershey Bears.
You use what you got.
She said that, she was like, I don't think we need to bring that up, but you all did, sir.
He also got us thrown out Red Lobster and pulled the
That's
fire
good.
alarm.
Oh, is that what she said? She's like, I heard the story.
We got,
Red Lobster,
we
yeah.
got asked to leave Red Lobster because he set off the fire alarm.
Yeah, you love fireworks.
Yeah.
No, we did not get to.
And part of it is he liked to be outside so much, and he knew that if our fire alarms went off, he got to go outside.
Yeah.
So I think that's where some of that came from.
You couldn't position him too close to them, and that was his mistake that night. Somebody sat him
Yeah.
right there, and he just reached up.
Oh.
And again, he was so slowly, he wanted to do something, and it was lightning quick over to,
Yes,
you
yes.
could sneak over, and it would happen before you knew what was happening.
Oh my gosh. That's,
Really memories.
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, keep sharing. I mean, after today, obviously, that's important, so. So there's another poem I like to use, and it's by Helen Steiner Rice, and it's called There Is No Light Without a Dawning. And it just talks about how after we're done with our chapter here on earth, the next chapter just alleviates, like there's no suffering, everyone's happy. I'm sure he's pulling fire alarms, or is outside. So, this poem goes, no winter without a spring, and beyond the dark horizon, our hearts will once more sing for those who leave us for a while, have only gone away, out of a restless, careworn world, into a brighter day. And I'm sure Lorenzo is definitely in a brighter day. Like you said, he's having fun with a nurse that he liked, So in closing, as we end our time together, I just want to take time to remind us several things that we can learn from Lorenzo's life that we can apply to ours. Lorenzo is a happy-go-lucky person that saw the world differently than the way we may see it. While we may see that it's cold and rainy outside, Lorenzo just saw it was a chance to go outside. He did not let inopportune weather stop him, and this is a lesson we can all use. Rather than viewing the glass as half empty, we should try to see things for the better in the midst of inopportune circumstances. Even when things started to get difficult for him at the end, Lorenzo kept fighting. Perseverance is also something we could take from Lorenzo's life. Lastly, we can learn to enjoy the small things in life. In today's society, we get stuck in a mindset where only large accomplishments matter, or we need the biggest and fanciest things to be happy. For Lorenzo, his happiness depended on just simple things, such as a walk outside, or a chance to look at a picture of a car. There's something to say about finding the joy in the simplest of things that we can all learn from. I am sure all of his caregivers could look back and see a lesson that Lorenzo taught them, even if it's not exactly appropriate sometimes, just at some point in caring for him. So finally, I would like to take a second to thank Maria and all of the people who loved and cared for Lorenzo. And I am sure that Lorenzo would say thank you for all you did for him. To everyone at Allegheny and Fox Subacute, your jobs are so important, and it truly takes special individuals to pour out unending care and compassion to those who need it. I have no doubt that as much as you all loved Lorenzo, that he loved you equally as much. While he may not be here in body, he will always be with you in memories and spirit. When you walk by a fire alarm or take a walk outside, I encourage you to think of Lorenzo and all of the good times you shared. Thank you for allowing me to honor the life of Lorenzo D. Simpson. And then we will start dismissing, so if people want to come up and say final goodbyes, you're welcome to. We'll start in the back row.